Hi, welcome to Overbox Guitar Tuition. So recently I looked at albums where I thought guitarists did a great job across the whole album, and then I looked at songs where you had just such a great performance. Go look at guitar duos now, guitar teams. So sometimes, both players kind of have to be on song to come together, so to speak. So you might have like a track where only one of the players does a solo, or you might have a track where they're both do solos, but one's considerably better than the other. But sometimes they get it just right, and you just get something really exciting happening along with the riffing. So really, you've got to start off with a KK and Glenn, haven't you? Tipton and Downing. There's quite a lot of choices I could have in there. I'll give a few that nearly made the cut. One of the early ones when I was younger was Hot Rockin'. So both the guitarists use pinch harmonics as a kind of theme for the solo. They both do a really cool lead break. The riffing's really good. You've got a great guitar sound on the Point of Entry album. It's all crafted into like a really good track. Some people think it's a bit dumb, the lyrics, but I love Hot Rockin'. It's always been probably close to my favourite track of Point of Entry. Again, on Riding on the Wind, on the Screaming for Vengeance album, the next album, they do the same idea with Riding on the Wind, where they do a four-way trade-off, one guy, the other guy, another guy, the next guy. And they use the whammy bar as the theme on that. Again, they never really pulled it off live very well, if I'm honest, and Glenn was using his SG, so he used to do weird bends, but it sounds great on the album. Again, this track's got exciting riffing on it. It's absolutely brilliant, second track on the album, but the solo is just something absolutely spectacular. And both guitarists, obviously there's that thing where Glenn's considered, quite a bit of a better guitarist than KK, but KK really competes with him well on this as he does on Hot Rockin'. I think that's the key thing here. Again, the Sentinel as well has got really interesting riffing, complicated. It's got a great sort of, I think they trade like about, 4 times each on the solo on that. It's got a cool, or do 7 and then the harmony. Again, really good parts, on that. A really amazing creation and great solos. And controversial track, but the track Ram It Down just has great riffing. The solo's phenomenal on it, and it's got that metal ending where Glenn kind of plays, a bit of nonsense, but it sounds fun. But both players, again, Keika does that, really good. It's so frenzied. But my top choice is a deep cut, and it's off the Ram It Down album. It's hard as iron, sharp as steel. I think the riffing's really good on this. It's a really good sort of staccato gallop. The solo's great. KK does some great whammy stuff. Glenn does something more melodic. Then they go into a really kind of cool harmony, and it's got a cool end bit. And I think this just really shows them off really well. And it's a track people probably maybe aren't as aware of. It's a bit of a deep cut favourite with Priest fans. So check out Hard as Iron. Next, I'm going to go for one of the all-time guitar teams. It's Brad Gillis and Jeff Watson, Night Ranger. Now, you can still rock in America was a close choice on this. Brad basically does some really melodics and metal whammies. Jeff does some cool pentatonics, and he does his crazy 8-finger tapping thing. But I think everyone would agree, Night Ranger, I've said this before, their first song that appears on their first album is their best song, and it actually has their best guitar song. It's Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Brad obviously just does great melodic stuff, was a great whammy work on this, and Jeff does that amazing kind of wide stretch sort of arpeggio staccato thing. Just such a good solo, just works so well for the song, the clean part, and then the chunky riffing. Everything's crafted perfect on this. Next choice, I'm going to go for like a real cult album and a guitar team that only did one album, but it's one of my favourites. And it's Billy White and John Norum, and I'm going to choose the track Down in Flames, track 10 off the Up From the Ashes album. So this track opens up with a ripping solo, I think it's Billy White. Then it goes into a cool harmony part. Really cool riffing in this, I think it's in the key of F sharp. You always get a nice sort of riffs in that key, don't you? F sharp minor. Then the middle solo's great. Billy White starts it off, and then John comes in with some really cool stuff. Just both guitarists, people go on about guitar not being a competition, but sometimes you need competition to create excitement, to push both guitarists. You get that with those, the two previous solos I mentioned, particularly Downey Tipton ones as well. And both guitarists are really going for it here. Sometimes I'm not sure who's doing what because the guitar sounds are similar, but I think John might do a bit of an outro solo. Either way, this track's pretty well balanced on that album. You know, Billy White does more solos. I think he was there first. But it's great. Absolutely brilliant. Two really top players at the time. You know, it's very rarely you get two players with equal chops, with equal sort of abilities. You do with Brad and Jeff. Great. Then gotta have Finlay's in there. Gonna pick Emerald. Brilliant harmony parts. Great rhythm parts. That pentatonic. The harmony breakdown, and then you've got the brilliant trade-off at the end. Brings out the best in both players. And what's interesting, they do short trade-offs. I think it's 2 bars each. Quite interesting. So they have to make concise statements. Got to have a bit of Rat in there. Round and Round. This has got a great rhythm part. The main riff's amazing, and then when you go into the verse, you've got like a really cool left-right sort of Scorpions thing. I think Warren's probably doing the sort of more staccato, boom, and then Robbins initially plays that and just hangs a G chord over that, and then they start doubling up. It's really well crafted, and the solo's great. Of course, you get Warren doing that great lead break with that jerk off vibrato, and then they go into the harmony. It'd be nice to pick a trade-off solo. I would have picked Wanted Man, but I don't actually like Warren's solo on that. I love Robin Crosby's solo. So often they didn't, trade off. They tended to take solos each, but Round and Round, we'll give it that. Okay, we've got to have Megadeth in there. Holy Wars is my choice. Obviously, that lineup's the best lineup of Megadeth. This track's got everything. You've got great riffing, probably principally written by Dave Mustaine. Possibly tracked by him. You've got that great sort of acoustic part Marty does with the sliding thirds. Then you got Marty's solos is just sort of epic and bringing in these slippery arpeggios and those really piercing bends. And then Dave Mustaine. Don't always like Dave Mustaine's solos, but he just be quite interesting. He uses his typical pentatonics, which he does a lot. And then he does chromatic pentatonics, but it works well. When it's doubling up at the end, he's just got it. He keeps it frenzying. And then that climbing chromatic bit brings a lot of excitement. Another track I might put is Dialectic Chaos, actually. He's got great trade-offs. He did that later on with Chris Broderick. But it's got to be Mustaine and Friedman. I think this track is a classic, and it covers these elements I'm talking about. We'll keep it with thrash. Going to go for Testament. We're going to go for a late entry. This is off their Titans of Creation album from, I think it's 2020, 2021. We're going to go for the track Dream Deceiver. Now, the reason I've picked this track is it's not often that Eric Peterson does solos in Testament. Typically, he does the riffing, he tracks it. Alex Skolnick does the lead. Eric Peterson does most of the writing, and Alex Skolnick will chip in a few things. That's typically how that's worked in that band. It's kind of like Rudolf Schenker and Matthias Jab's been in a thrash sense. But on this track, Eric Peterson takes the first break. And he does something really wise. If you're a little sort of advice, if you're a lead guitar player and you haven't got great vibrato or you haven't got the chops of your counterpart, using a wah-wah pedal is a really effective thing because it gives you expression and a way to express your notes more. But it also is a way to counterbalance your other player because you'll be the wah-wah guy. So I'm not a massive wah-wah fan, but in this instance it works really well. He does a lot of kind of bluesy stuff, some quick pentatonics. It's fairly, not rudimentary, but it's kind of intermediate soloing. But he does like a good take, and it's got a nice delay on it. It's got excitement, and then Alex Skolnick comes in. The chord progression changes, and he does something typically Alex Skolnick, like he would do on Souls of Black or So Many Lives, where he does something just really melodic, and then he's got some lovely pinch harmonics and some Pharrell turn up picking, and it just shows off the skill set of both guitarists really well. And that's why I'm picking that. The riffing's stellar, of course, and it's a really good track, maybe the best track of the album. You've not heard the Times of Creation album. I think it's their best album since they came back. In the late noughties. Okay, we've got to have some serious shredders on here. Going to go for Scarified Racer X. So this just shows off the dual soloing of Gilbert and Boulez so well. And it's that interesting thing where, in actual fact, a lot of people, if you hear Bruce Boulez's solo spot on the Extreme Volume Live album, a lot of people prefer that. And I actually prefer his break on this. So even though Paul Gilbert's taking him under his wing, the middle solo Paul does some cool Paul stuff, and then Bruce does that lovely minor 7 string skipped arpeggio, sort of pentatonic shape. It just sounds so spectacular. Just the whole track, it's a guitar feast, really. And then I would say the same for the track Go Off. So Marty Friedman gets in here a second time with Jason Becker. So the Cacophony album Go Off, which I think is the better album, it's better produced, it's got better songs. The track Go Off's an instrumental. It's just, again, it's just insane. You've got them harmonising. Then Marty does some crazy Uli Roth stuff. Then it's got this unaccompanied bit where Marty does some like sort of Japanese pentatonic style stuff. Then I think it goes into a kind of breakdown, and Jason does some really cool whammy slurring stuff and does some melodic stuff. It kind of, they managed to fit almost 2 or 3, 4 instrumentals in one track, but the playing's absolutely stellar. I mean, you know, they were a band challenging Racer X with that crazy shred. Absolutely brilliant. My final choice I'll go for is a 2-guitar band who I really like. It was quite tough to pick this because one of the guitarists, you know, he does a lot of riffing, a lot of writing, and he's great. His lead playing's not, you know, great, but there's a few choices. There's Vicious Rumours, the track World Church, and the tracks Digital Dictator were 2 that stood out, where Jeff Thorpe gets in solid lead breaks, and Mark McGee's the superior play. He's like the Alex Skolnick of the band. But I think the track Don't Wait For Me is a track that a lot of people might know, especially from MTV and Raw Power back in the day. Great riffing on this, really good, brilliant central solo by Mark McGee, and then Jeff Thorpe kind of cuts loose at the end with some kind of more top pentatonic stuff, bit wilder, doing some whammy bar stuff, kind of more KK-ish, and it works really well. If you're not heard any Vicious Rumours, check out their Digital Dictator and their self-titled album from 1990. Okay, so that's my favourite kind of guitar duo things I've picked up. Obviously no Jabs and Schenker in there, but that's really because Rudy doesn't do any solos. They never trade off solos, so I wanted to kind of pick things either trade off solos or 2 solos. So hope you enjoyed that. Remember to share and subscribe. You'll have other ideas of great guitar dueling, trading off. Let me know in the comments. Cheers. See you again soon. Remember, share and subscribe. Thanks.